Welcome to the On Your Mind podcast, where we are changing the mental health narrative, bringing hope and solutions. Here's your host, Timothy J. Hayes, psychologist.
Alex Doman is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, psychoacoustic music producer, and TEDx speaker with more than 30 years of experience in neurotechnology. His mission is to help others achieve their optimal potential to become the best version of themselves. The third generation in a family of pioneers dedicated to improving people's brain performance for over 75 years, Alex founded Advanced Brain Technologies and co-founded Sleep Genius and Vital Neuro. His best-selling book, Healing at the Speed of Sound, is published in 5 languages and was one of Apple's top 10 enhanced books of the year. He's contributed articles to scientific journals, magazines, and books, and is host of the Advanced Brain podcast with guests including New York Times best-selling authors, health personalities, and other thought leaders. Well, Alex, good morning. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Timothy. Great to be with you.
I'm excited to hear about your latest project, the Vital Neuro, and how it builds on what you've had before that we've interviewed you for the listening program. And can you get us started about what's all the excitement that's happening with Vital Neuro?
Well, all the excitement has had quite a buildup. 8 years of research and development to create something that we're really proud of and that we believe is going to make a massive impact in society. And, this Vital Neuro is something we call neuro-guided performance training. So it is a clinical grade mobile neurofeedback system that incorporates patented neuro-responsive music. And what this system does is that it reads brainwave activity to understand an individual's current mental state. Are we anxious? Are we relaxed? Are we distracted? Are we focused? In our mobile app, you're able to select a mode or a mental state that you want to shift to. Relax, meditation, sleep, focus, and then optimize for executive function. You choose how long that you want to do a session, from 5 to 30 minutes. And when you start that session, music that's been specially composed to guide your brain to that goal mental state begins to play. We get a baseline EEG of that current mental state. And then the system sets a goal for the brainwave activity that we want your brain to be in to learn how to say, for example, let's use relaxation. I'm feeling highly stressed, agitated, anxious, and I need to calm down and bring my nervous system down and get self-regulated. So I'll choose relax mode for 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes of listening to the music and after the EEG baseline, my brain activity is being monitored in real time by the EEG, and it's seeing where my mental state is compared to the goal. It guides me to the goal, and when I reach that goal, my brain's rewarded. And that's through a process called operant conditioning. That reward is visual and auditory feedback that's telling my brain that it's achieving its goal. The auditory feedback is where that neuro-responsive music comes in which the music composition is personalized to match my brain state in real time. So that EEG is guiding the music and my brain is changing the music and getting better at relaxation. If I happen to be looking at the screen, there's a visual. That visual is a animation, and it animates when I'm in the zone or on target, and it pauses when I'm out of the zone. The auditory reward, the music's always playing, but when I'm in the zone, the music becomes more enriched with my personalized reward frequency. So over the course of the session, the music will change, the video will play and pause, but all of that is the neurofeedback training that's getting my brain into a new mental state. So what happens in a session is we create a shift. And why this is so exciting for us is this is the first time that neuro-responsive music and neurofeedback have been combined and made into a mobile system that's clinical grade that doesn't require you to go into a clinic and work with a neurofeedback practitioner. There are times when that's very important to do, but this really democratizes access, creating a mobile neurofeedback system so we can reach people we could never reach before. And that's really what we're most excited about.
And so what are some of the target benefits that you've seen in people and you're hoping to make available to a wider range of people?
I would say the two biggest benefits that are most important to us is helping people learn to focus in this world full of distractions. And before we started the interview, we were talking about media and all of the things that are coming at us and all the information and misinformation that's coming at us. And there's a lot for the brain to filter out and to learn to focus on task. And it's become more and more difficult for adults and our children, especially our kids, to be able to focus on a task, to do our work, to be present in a conversation, to be productive in the classroom. So focus is really key to our ability to, function optimally. Right below focus, and by below, I mean within the brain, we think of focus as being cortex activity. We're focused on self-regulation. So the big benefit here is when we're able to self-regulate, our body can automatically shift itself to the state that it needs to be in. And what do I mean by that? When we have a lot of stressors and a lot of things coming at us, we can go into a fight or flight response, not even be aware that we are. And in society today, we're seeing more and more people kind of in this highly activated state of self-protection. What happens when we're in that state of self-protection is that we have a myriad of health issues that come up, like lowered immune function, our sleep gets impacted, and a number of other things. And what's really important for us is to be able to recover from that fight or flight response and be in a recovery state. Now, this all happens with the autonomic nervous system, which is that automatic part of the brain that works without our conscious thought. So that works to keep us alive, to keep us breathing, to manage respiration, and manage all major body functions. So when we can shift from what we would call sympathetic mode in the autonomic nervous system to parasympathetic recovery, then our nervous system can come into balance. And when we're in balance, we're more resilient. We can handle the stressors coming at us better without getting that sense of overwhelm and stress and struggle that so many people are experiencing. So fundamentally, we're really working on focus and we're working on self-regulation. But there are a number of benefits that come and wrap around all that, such as improved sleep, improved performance, the ability to really focus in on a task when we need to, when a lot's coming at us, and to extend our fuse, so that we can handle the stressors as they're coming at us in a reasonable way and not be reactive or over responsive. So, those are the key areas that we're working on. But, as I mentioned, there's a whole lot of associated benefits when we learn to focus and our nervous system begins self-regulating.
Well, and one of the things that strikes me so much about this is from all of the work that I've read, for instance, even the American Medical Association estimates that well over 90% of all disease is stress related, which doesn't mean it's caused by stress, but it can be aggravated by stress, exaggerated by stress, and the healing response can be suppressed if my mental emotional stress level stays too high. So while for centuries people have talked about the benefits of meditation, many of us in today's world don't, even though all of the most successful people we talk about their meditation practice being so valuable. And that's one of the things I like about this is that I get some feedback as I'm doing my relaxation training or my breathing work or my attempt to focus and keep the thoughts in a narrow band. It is a kind of an extra motivator. You talked about rewarding the brain, right? At that unconscious level that the brain responds without me knowing consciously. Having this device and the access to these beautiful images and music is a reward for my conscious mind to motivate me to step into the use of it 2 or 3 times a day.
Beautifully said. It's working. It's working at both levels. And speaking specifically to meditation, I mean, we know for centuries the benefits of meditation. It's been one of the tools we've had as humanity to ultimately self-regulate. Right. That's been the greatest benefit, and it's difficult to meditate. So many people attempt. They use all kinds of tools and techniques and training and courses to learn how to get into a meditative state. But as we've interviewed people that are meditators, it takes a long time. It takes a great amount of practice and patience to allow yourself to get into the state of a quiet mind, to allow all the ruminations and thoughts just to be observed and to pass by us. And it's often difficult for a beginning meditator to even know if they've reached that state of meditation. And that's the beautiful thing about Vital Neuro. When you use the meditation mode specifically, the music helps you get guided to a deep meditative state, but that neuro-responsive music and the visuals, if you're using them, generally in meditation, we rely on the audio feedback and audio rewards. It tells you when you're there. And then it rewards you the longer that you're in that state. So the brain gets practice meditating and gets more efficient at it. So it begins to know, oh, this is what it feels like to be here. And that reward just continues to reinforce it. So as we've had meditation teachers use Vital Neuro, what we have found is that they can drop in deeper and much more quickly than they can in their meditation practice. I mean, this is even meditators have been meditating for 20, 25, 30 years.
Well, and you mentioned, this being aware or getting the feeling and then getting the validation that you're in that feeling state. My understanding is that one of the best things about us as human beings is our adaptability. We can adapt to various environments and situations. One of the bottom line rules that I share with people or observations I share with people is that my greatest strengths at times will be my greatest weakness. My greatest assets at times, my greatest liability. So my ability to adapt to a moderate to high level of stress is really good at a certain level. But it's really a sabotage at another level where I get used to living at this higher stress level and I think I'm relaxed when I'm here. And really, this is more a normal level of relaxation, but I've acclimated to this. And if I drop just down to here, a notch off of, right and 2 notches above where I live my life is a panic attack, right? And I live my life 2 notches below and think I'm doing great because I've acclimated to that level of stress. One of the benefits of a feedback mechanism like this is it helps me helps my body build that muscle memory for that deeper relaxed state. And then it's easier to bring it up once I practice being in that state. I literally build the muscle memory for it.
Well, you brought up something really important because what's happened for your nervous system is that a normal then higher level of activation has become your baseline.
Yes.
And I believe that we're seeing that across society. So the baseline is shifted. So if we, take a continuum, and on the far left we have really difficult mental health disorders, schizophrenia, bipolar, significant needs. And on the far right, we're talking about the epitome of peak mental performance. And in the middle is normal. And what we've noticed is this shift of normal has shifted a little left. It's gone a little more disordered, has become our new norm. So as we really focus on our work at Vital Neuro, our true north is how do we shift that back to center and a little bit right to center. So how can we help shift society a little more toward being a peak performer as opposed to having dysregulation? And imagine how different our world would be if we were able to achieve that.
Yeah, I do think about it often. I remember that a good number of years ago now, I saw this video. It's available on YouTube, Stress, Portrait of a Killer. And it's a very nice, concise compilation of the research on the negative effects on us as people, physiologically and emotionally, and in terms of the suppression of our immune system when we live at too high a stress level for too long. And
and it's not that, stress is going to go away. Stress is an adaptive response to our environment. And it's important. There can be positive stress and negative stress. It's that when we have chronic stress at an elevated level, that it has debilitating impact on our health, both physically and mentally. So, this ability to learn to self-regulate and handle the stressors that are coming at us. And I don't think it's slowing down. The news generally isn't good in the media. We have a lot of shifts that we're experiencing in the world, whether it's, whatever our opinion might be on what's happening in the climate, what's happening in the geopolitical world, economically, macroeconomics of the world today. There's a lot of bad news coming at us, and I don't see that slowing down. So we really need to learn to adapt to what's coming at us in order to make the shift that we need in society to, in my opinion, make sure that we preserve the future of humanity, because I believe there's some risk there, Timothy.
well, and as I understand it, what's far more important than the amount of stress that we subject ourselves to is our ability to reset after a stress period.
Right.
And our ability to, like I was mentioning, if I've learned to live at too high a stress level, and that becomes, as you're saying, my baseline, if I don't bring my baseline back down, if I don't dip below that on a regular basis, if I don't learn to reset my system, as we talked about, my immune system doesn't function well. So any illness I get lasts longer, and or the symptoms are more intense, and or recovering from an injury is not as rapid as it could be if I'm doing my resetting practice. As you say, this parasympathetic system is often referred to as the rest and digest mode.
That's
because
right.
if I'm up in a stress response or fight or flight response, I'm literally not digesting my food efficiently. I'm literally not recovering from the activities that I needed to do to get through a stressful day.
And it's interesting, we talk about the importance of shifting from fight or flight to rest and digest, but it's important that we don't have this maladaptive response where we sit in parasympathetic recovery all the time, because then we're not in a place that we can respond to what's happening in our environment. And some people just kind of shut themselves down in a mode of self-protection. And we see that in a number of ways. And we actually see that quite a bit in people that suffer from the disease of loneliness, which is happening so much more as our lifespan has been increasing, and more older adults are spending time alone, and they don't have friends and loved ones around them. They begin to shift into this mode that's unhealthy on the other extreme. So it's about the balance between the two systems. It's a dynamic system. We have to be able to shift automatically, right? Have that flexibility and adaptation to shift between both modes and find homeostasis so that we're balanced and we can shift where we need to be when we need to be there. And that's the beautiful part about Vital. And you use the word reset. We can help reset the nervous system and be more responsive in the way that we need to based on the situation that we're faced with.
Well, and that's one of the things that I really glad about in the system that you put together, because it's not just deep meditation. I'm just pulling my app up here so I can read. You've got the sessions available are called Relax, as major categories, right? Relax, meditate, sleep, focus, and optimize. And the subheading for optimize is to boost my productivity, and the subtopic for focus is to sharpen your mind. And then within each of those categories, you've got 2 or 3 different programs to listen to, slightly different music. I'm not sure, I haven't been through all of them, but slightly different optics. And so I'm very pleased that it's not just a meditation device, right? This is a brain training device at a whole new level than anything I've ever seen before.
Yeah. Well, you're right onto it. This is something very unique. And while meditation is important, it's important that we find balance across our nervous system. And as you described our modes, we can think about kind of stages of consciousness and stages of activation. So if we have sleep kind of as the most deepest level of downregulation, then meditation, then relax, then focus, and then optimize, which is about executive function, we're able to work on our subconscious and conscious neurological functions at all levels. So that's really part of the beauty of the system. And the simplicity of it, as you've experienced, Timothy, because you have a system, is we've got a pair of beautiful wireless headphones. They have these little sensors that are in the top that are spring loaded to conform to the shape of our head. We put on the headphones, we turn on the app, and within 30 seconds, we're beginning to create that mental shift. So it's very easy to use, very practical, something that fits into our daily life. And that's a really important key. So this is really lifestyle neurofeedback. It's the ability to have a very powerful but easy to use technology that makes a real difference in our home, in our office. When we're commuting, we can travel with it. And it isn't that we just have to sit down and just do Vital. We can do other activities. So when I do email in the morning, I go into focus mode or optimize, and I get into flow state. And I'm able to get through my emails much faster than I normally would. I'll do it while I'm reading. I may do it doing home chores. So the beautiful thing about it is we have the opportunity just to be present with the technology and go in deep and have a full experience, or just to incorporate it into our activities of daily living and make it part of our lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're using this awareness. There's the book, The Brain That Changes Itself, where it is a summary of the research about how the brain adapts and changes without us consciously knowing it's doing it. And this kind of technology that you put together accesses the awareness of the brain's neuroplasticity and ability to change its functioning levels or override a part that's damaged or not functioning up to par. And I'd heard about it for years with neurofeedback, that if I sit in front of the screen and just watch the movie or the little animation, my brain is going to get better in certain ways that are being programmed by the clinician that's running the neurofeedback device. And it was always kind of a puzzling thing to me until I've had it explained enough times by different neurologists and neurofeedback specialists that the brain wants consistency, it wants predictability, it wants a flow. And so I was just thrilled to see that you've integrated that technology into this, I was going to say affordable device, but it's not affordable for everybody. But this device that I can use on my own without, as you said, without having to go to a professional, travel for 40 minutes to his or her office and sit there for a session, et cetera.
Well, and you touch on a couple points there. So for one, talking about clinical neurofeedback and the Vital Neuro system, we're working with neurofeedback clinicians across the country. And what they're finding is that this fills a need that they have within their practice. This is a tool that can be used between clinical neurofeedback sessions. It can be used as a primer before a neurofeedback session. when deeper work is done hands-on with a practitioner. But then it's about maintenance. So after we've been discharged or graduated from our neurofeedback training, this is something that we can carry with us and continue to maintain and build on those results that we've had in our neurofeedback training. And the other aspect, you bring up Dr. Deutsch's book, such a brilliant book, and he really helped society understand what is neuroplasticity and the fact that the brain can change itself. And the brain is very rhythmic; it's frequency oriented, and it is a pattern recognition system. So it is looking for pattern, it is looking for order, it's looking for structure and organization. So if we have a brain that is dysregulated, we have a nervous system that's out of rhythm, and we have a brain that's out of rhythm. And the beautiful thing about this system is that it helps to synchronize the system, to get the two hemispheres in this rhythmic dance and organization to improve our function. And when we choose each mode in Vital Neuro, it is recruiting neural networks in different areas of the brain to train them and to help them regulate and function better. So we get an immediate benefit, which we call the shift when we're in a session and we feel a nervous system shift. But as we train daily and we build one session upon another, that's where we get the permanency of change in the neural networks. So that's, the beautiful thing about this is that we can get relief or focus in the moment, but as we train over time, we are changing our brain for the better.
Well, and you've already hit it, but I want to just repeat that one of the things that's allowed me to use this more is that I put it on for my morning routine, or I'll put it on if I'm just going to answer, scan through the emails that come in and say which are garbage and which need a quick response. And so it's given me that ability to get some additional focus or relaxation without having to carve out, here's 20 minutes to meditate with the door closed and nothing else happening. I also have had the experience, and two other people that I know have used it have had an experience where they've noticed a sleep improvement if they use the program before they go to sleep. And have you gotten much feedback from people about that and what's happening on the sleep end of things?
Yeah. Of all of the modes, sleep is trending to be one of the more popular ones. And we are, if we think about sleep, there's generally three challenges that we may have if we have disordered sleep. We may have a difficulty with sleep onset, the ability to get to sleep, the ability to stay asleep, and then sleep quality. So that sleep quality, how do we feel? Do we feel rested when we wake in the morning? And as I'm talking to our customers, both clinicians and clients, we're discovering that sleep is the major area of complaint and pretty close to a sense of overwhelm and too much stress that people are experiencing. And we very rapidly see the shift in sleep. So what we see is that sleep onset comes more easily. So when we do a vital session, it will put people to sleep in that session, and that they will have less night waking. But if they still have night waking, they know that they can do a session and help reset and get themselves back to sleep. But the biggie is the recovery in the morning, that people are feeling rested, and that's measurable. So by using biometric devices, I use a Whoop, there's an Oura Ring, there's other technologies out there that can monitor your sleep stages and quality of your sleep. What we see are significant improvements in deep sleep and in REM sleep. And those are really important for recovery. In addition, to give us some feedback on overall, how is our nervous system and how is our level of resilience, we see heart rate variability improvement in individuals that are monitoring those biometrics. So that HRV is a really important indicator of our overall resilience and our level of recovery, which really equates to our readiness to engage in life. So if we get good sleep, we get good recovery, we have better readiness and we're better prepared to take on what we need to do in the day. So yeah, we've been seeing really terrific things happening on the sleep front.
Excellent. Well, I noticed it myself, and as I mentioned, 2 other people I know that have used it. And so just get centered for a minute and think about, okay, so we've talked about this for a bit, and I've asked some questions. Is there an aspect of this that I haven't even touched on yet that you want to bring up? Or one of the pieces we've already done that you want to go back and highlight?
Well, that's a great question. And, I think one of the aspects is the value of what we're learning about brains in individuals in the data side of Vital Neuro. So when we're doing Vital Neuro sessions, we are gathering an EEG during the entire session. And we're learning how an individual's brain responds based on the time of day that they're doing a session, based on the mode that they're running. You'll notice in the app now we have a journal at the end where we ask you, were your eyes open or closed? Were you sitting? Were you laying down? Were you moving? Were you looking at the screen? Were you not looking at the screen? And what's happening is the system is getting more intelligent about you, but then all of the users with Vital. And that's where our new personalization begins to come in. So as the system learns more about everyone using Vital Neuro, and then you in relationship to that wider group, it gets an intelligence and it can begin to make recommendations and guide you to have more personalized experience. In addition, we've developed a new metric that we actually just announced last week called the BVI, which is the Brain Vitality Index. And this is a measure that allows us in just a few minutes to get a baseline of brain activity and then to track changes in that brain activity over time to see how we're responding. So how are we responding to Vital Neuro and how are we doing overall? So it's a check-in for the brain like HRV is for resilience. So that BVI is becoming a really important index. And our first index is for relaxation, but we're building other indexes, including focus. So we really believe that this is going to become a benchmark for individuals to track their brain state and brain performance over time. So, we have the benefit of using the system, the ease of using the system, the convenience of being able to do it anywhere, but there's deep science that's lying underneath here. And those that are using Vital are helping to contribute not only to their own personalization and improvement, but actually everybody that's using this technology as we're learning more about how the brain responds to this type of neurofeedback training.
Now, is that BVI metric that you just mentioned, is that part of the benchmark that's in the app?
That's the benchmark. That's the new benchmark mode in the app. And so you'll notice that it will prompt you to do that every 4 weeks. So right now, that's the relax benchmark. And it's a 5-minute session, eyes closed, remaining perfectly still. They're as still as we can be. And then there's a data report that comes out after that lets you know the results of that benchmark. And then as you do those benchmarks over time, it's looking at that longitudinal shift in your brain activity. So that, along with a number of other short-term metrics, are a way that we're really accelerating the experience of the Vital Neuro app with this personalization and more options in terms of how we use it. So new music, new modes. So I think, an important thing for, your audience to understand is this Vital Neuro system isn't static, it's very dynamic. So we're doing app updates every 2 to 4 weeks, releasing new features and functionality so that people can have a deeper and more profound experience of change with Vital Neuro.
Excellent. So if people want to find out more about it, what is the website that you would direct them to?
Vitalneuro.com.
All one word, VITALNEURO.
Yeah, VITALNEURO.com. vitalneuro.com. So they can go there, they can order their Vital Neuro system, and then when they get that system delivered, they've got the option of reaching out and having a team member help them get onboarded and familiar with the system. But it really is designed to be self-directed. So you get the system, open the app, you have instructions, and you go, and you're using it right away.
So is this a fully launched? Is this a pre-launch we're talking about? Is it?
We're fully launched now. So when we first spoke 4 years ago, we were pre-launch, and Vital Neuro is fully launched. What I would say, though, is that we're very conservative in our approach. So this is widely available in the United States through Vital Neuro, and anyone can have access to it. But we're not working right now, Timothy, to get it to as many people as possible yet. We're allowing that to happen very organically, allowing people to discover it, continuing to do research and learnings with different partners in the space to improve our science and our experience with Vital Neuro, and then over time to gradually make it available to a wider and wider audience. But, I guess the fact you can go to the website and get it now, we're fully launched and, ready for people to, benefit from this work that we've been doing.
Excellent. Well, I'm thrilled that you would take the time to give us this insight and update, and I'm enjoying the device, as I've explored many devices over the years for brain health and meditation, and this is just a whole new level. So thank you for that and the work you're doing.
Yeah, we appreciate those kind words and that recognition. It means a lot, and we hope that others are finding the same, and we're finding largely that's the case.
Well, in my work as a psychologist / therapist, this idea that we can take a few breaths and calm ourselves down, and we can get a little distance from our issues, whether they're intellectual challenges or emotional challenges, is a key primary tool I try to give people with breath work and some, acupressure work and shift in focus for perspectives. People call it reframing at times. And having a device like this where people can, as you say, working between sessions, building that muscle memory, learning how to feel like they've got a little bit more control over what their mind is doing, their brain is doing, their body is doing in conjunction with the brain, it's a real boon to the kind of work I do with people and what I think is mental health practice.
I'm thrilled to hear that, and I think a key word that you brought was control. I think so often people feel out of control of their life, themselves, and their situation. And this is a tool to help us shift, take control back, and, be able to accomplish what we want in life and to feel like we can do it. So, in Vital Neuro, there's hope, but there's also opportunity that's very real to regain that control and to find the balance in our life that we need to perform and to be happy and productive.
Well, one last thing that comes to me to ask is this: if I have a Vital Neuro and I'm in a family and I want several people to use it, is that functionality set up yet where people can have different accounts on the same headset?
Yeah, we're expecting that to launch this summer, Timothy. So we're getting very close. So right now, when you have an account, it's tracking the data and personalizing for that individual. If we have other family members right now, we have demo mode. So you switch on demo mode and settings that allows other people to get the full experience of a Vital session. But it's not tracking that data on them past that session or impacting your data. So that's what we recommend people do now. And then shortly we'll announce the ability to add additional family members and subscribe to different accounts. So everyone in the family can have that personalization over time.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. I will give you some feedback in 6 months or so about how much better my brain's working.
Look forward to it. Thanks so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Alex Doman is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, psychoacoustic music producer, and TEDx speaker with more than 30 years of experience in neurotechnology. His mission is to help others achieve their optimal potential to become the best version of themselves. The third generation in a family of pioneers dedicated to improving people's brain performance for over 75 years, Alex founded Advanced Brain Technologies and co-founded Sleep Genius and Vital Neuro. His best-selling book, Healing at the Speed of Sound, is published in 5 languages and was one of Apple's top 10 enhanced books of the year. He's contributed articles to scientific journals, magazines, and books, and is host of the Advanced Brain podcast with guests including New York Times best-selling authors, health personalities, and other thought leaders. Alex Doman's production credits are extensive, guiding teams who've created cutting-edge solutions that have helped millions of people worldwide, including, among others, the Listening Program, a music listening therapy and audio streaming service, and Sleep Genius, which achieved #1 global health fitness app in the App Store. He and his colleagues at Vital Neuro are on a mission to change people's minds for the better through their patented EEG-driven method, the Neuro-Guided performance training. He has been interviewed for NBC, CBS, ABC, MSNBC, The Today Show, NPR Marketplace, Wall Street Journal, Women's Health, Men's Health, Fast Company, Money Watch, ESPN Radio, Hearing Health Magazine, and top podcasts and other media. Alex is a global keynote speaker. He's been on stages in Europe, Asia, Australia, North and South America, and is listed as one of the 50 important human behavior experts to watch.
You've been listening to the On Your Mind podcast, offered by Journey's Dream, where we support people through mental health challenges to a place of true and lasting well-being. If you love our show, we invite you to visit onyourmindpodcast.org to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our helpful resources. Thank you for listening.